of Tony up from, what, 20 years ago? Tony looked like Serpico, man. And he was like talking to Tony the whole time. It was hilarious, Bobby. That was hilarious. But anyway, Bobby DiChiero, many of you don't know, you're making 80 grand a year, right, Bobby? Part-time? Yeah, somewhere, he don't even know, right? And he's like, don't tell people that, because I don't tell my wife what I'm making, right? But last month was paid $9,860, and from what I'm told, this man works one night a week, guys. So it's not like he's working 7 nights a week, he never sees his family. He works one solid night a week, and he's making 80 grand as a part-time base shop person, future RVP, okay? So if you're not making money in here, it's because you're not working. Jimmy says all the time, if you're not making money, there's only 2 reasons. Either you're not fundamentally sound, which is very fixable, that means you don't know what to do, or you're not working. It's one of those 2 things, guys. It's one of those 2 things, and you're about to hear from the master, so please give it up for the awesome Bobby DiChiero.
That's the confusion. Well, she's here, so if she heard that and said I only work one night a week, I'd be in trouble. She said, where the hell are you the others? But it's actually, I appreciate it, but it's actually 3. I do work the field 3 nights a week. I started out doing one night a week. The first year I came back, my story's a little strange. I mean, I started out in 1988. I became full-time right away. I was in Primerica for 4 years. And I made a decision at that time to shift gears and go back into what I love to do, coaching. But 9/11 changed things for me. I thought, you know, I always kept up my licenses, and I thought I need to get back into this because so many people really need to hear what we do. So my first year back, I was one night a week. And you know, I made 20 grand the first year in 2002. And the second year, we got up to about 45 or 46. And then the third year, I believe it was 50 or 60, and now we're in the 80, 90 range. And obviously we have goals to continue to grow, but that's the story. I mean, the biggest thing I would say is my story is really not applicable to most. I mean, the biggest key thing that you have is recruiting and training people and going out in their markets. That's the way to build a business. Everybody else is going to come up here and tell you that. My story is a little bit different because right now I'm in a situation where I am personally producing. I'm out there doing my thing because I have to. I have a lot of commitments with the baseball league. I run a baseball league in town, and that's really my passion. That's my #1 passion. I was with my wife for 9 days when I first met her, and I told her, listen, honey, baseball will always be first, okay? Now, you know, you're in a new relationship, you know, oh, okay, yeah. You know, I guess she didn't think that was true. Because we were about to have our first child, and he was due on the date of the Hudson County Championship. And I told her, you will be all by yourself if that thing happens. So she did the right thing. She held it up for a couple days. She kept, I appreciate that. Don't ever say I don't say nice things about you, honey, because I appreciate that. You know, my talk is going to be some things that you really need to do to be successful in the field, and it starts with leadership. You know, leadership is an unwavering, eye-to-eye contact commitment to what you do, you know, and to what we do. The one thing you're going to be tested from every angle if you haven't already, right? You're going to be tested by your people, you're going to be tested by your clients, and you're even going to be tested by your upline, right? Some of you might have a pain in the ass upline like I do, Tony, right? Some of them are, right, they're busting your chops every other week, calling you with this, are you going here, are you doing this, are you doing that, right? Am I right or wrong? Do you have one of those? You're going to be tested. And what they're looking for, every one of those people, what they're looking for is how committed you are and how much do you strongly believe in what you do. And it's very important for you to feel that way, to feel very strong about what you do. You know, I run the baseball league, and it's problem season for me, you know. Now, the difference between the baseball league and Primerica is problem season all the time, correct, Jim? Am I right? 12 months, right? It's always problem. Baseball time now is where kids, we start the tournaments, and you got parents that think their kid's Derek Jeter, and he should be playing 3 innings, and you got a coach that thinks he should be this and that and that. And you go through it, and everybody's testing you. And they're looking in your eyes to see what your commitment level is, right, Andrew? They're looking at what, you know, and if you don't let people, if you show people that what you mean, what you say is what you mean, and you ain't gonna let them get through you, that's how you get ahead. It's our products. It's when you're talking to your people, they have to know that you're 100% committed to what you do. Am I right or wrong on that, right? Right. And you know, it's another thing that's always been said. It's not good enough to just be right with your people. Sometimes they have to know why you're right, right? I have a guy. And also, there's another thing too. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. And you're going to make a ton of them in the field. You're going to make a ton of them in your management philosophy, right? You're going to make mistakes. The worst thing you can do is not make a decision. And that's where people start to question you. We have a guy in our league. He's a millionaire, right? He came on board 2 years ago, and I said, wow, this guy's unbelievable. He's sharp. Well, you know, he does everything. He's one of these guys that's a poet. He writes music, he paints, he sings, he dances, he's got a great family. He's like Mike Brady. His kids are beautiful. He's beautiful. He's got big arms. He's got everything. The guy's amazing, you know. So I bring him on board. I put him in charge of the fundraising committee. And I'm saying I can kick my feet up, man. It's another thing I don't have to do now. And the guy turns out to be a jackass. You know, and I'll tell you why. You know why he is? Because he thinks he knows everything. He thinks because he's a millionaire and he has an internet business, he doesn't have to communicate with people. He's clicking, you know, buying and selling stuff. He doesn't have to motivate people, communicate with people. So every time I tried to say, well, maybe you're not doing that right. Well, no, this is the way I do things, Bob. This is the way I've always done things. And all of a sudden, people are leaving him and nobody's following him. And everybody's bickering, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling this one don't like him. Don't make that mistake. You know, don't ever think that you've arrived. Don't ever think that you know everything. It's the one greatest thing about Jim Penn. As great as he's always been humble. He's always been a guy that never acted like he was better than anyone. And that's what's important about being a leader. And no matter what level you're at, you know, some of you might feel comfortable and say, you know, wow, I'm doing really good, man. I'm kicking some butt. Take a look at the leaders' bulletins and see the 10 or 15 or 30 or 100 people that are kicking your butt. Right? That'll humble you. And if that's not happening in the state, then look at the national bulletins and see those people that are whooping your tail. Always stay humble. Be confident inside. Always be confident inside, but stay humble on the exterior. Am I right? You have to have an inner intensity about what you do, but it can't show on the outside. Because sometimes that intensity on the outside is misperceived as anxiety. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if you're a little uneasy and a little nervous looking, people think that you don't have your stuff together. But inside, you really do have to be a nut, right? Yes. Right. You have to listen. The talk for part-timers is this: you have to work your schedule. You know, you really do. You have to commit to a schedule, and that schedule is whatever you make it out to be, right? It doesn't have to be every single day. It doesn't have to be. It has to be what you say it is. But here's the thing: what you say it is, you have to go ahead and follow through. Correct? Yes. And here's the last thing I think I'll finish with is it's about winning. You know, everything is about winning. The other things that lead up to winning are important, but winning is the ultimate thing. And I love the parents in our league that sometimes say, well, winning's not very important. It's very important that we have fun. You know? And, you know, I beg to differ because, you know, you want your kid to learn. You want him to learn what it takes to win, right, Rocco? And if he learns it at 6, what the hell's the difference at 6 than it is at 11, than it is at 15, than what it is at 18, what it is at 28? The things that are important, now I'm not saying that they lose, you shoot them, all right? I'm not saying that, all right? I'm not saying that because some people think I do that. But it's important to teach winning. And winning in this business is what? Making money. And if you're not making money, then you have to go back to the fundamentals and see what you're doing wrong. Just like if you're not winning, I got a guy in our league who's 4-10, and he's going around town, hanging out in the bars, telling everybody how to coach, telling everybody what his philosophy and how he's the. Hey, bro, you're 4-10. All right, you're 4-10. Win something, then tell us what's it all about. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. You know, you got to be kidding me. How many? 1 minute. Where's my buddy Stanley? Is he Stanley? Hey, Stanley, how are you, buddy? Grace, you remember the time? Grace, you remember the time you told me Stanley and Jimmy came into the office, put their heads together, they came out looking like an ass? Remember you told me that? That was a bald joke. I'm sorry, you guys missed it. It was a bald joke. Sorry, everyone. You guys are slow, man. Very slow in here. Very slow. Very slow. Listen, I'm going to end here. I made a joke because I had to make you laugh at least once because she put a lot of pressure on me saying I was funny. And up to this point, I haven't been funny. So I'm just going to say this. You don't realize the ultimate example you have in leadership and the man sitting to my right. Everything that I've done in my life, I can attest to learning it from this guy, and he doesn't even know it, but the things that I learned from him when I was a 21-year-old punk kid, and I did leave this company, I applied everything I learned to my construction business from the things he taught me, and I applied everything I learned from taking the league from 4 people to 100 people today, the greatest youth baseball organization in the world, I believe. And it's because of the ultimate example that this guy gives us. And I think that's very important for you, especially brand new, to understand that. Thank you, guys.